He was a take-charge guy from the day he walked on the court. He was never concerned with points or assists or whatever. All he wanted was the bottom line. That was all that Irvin ever cared about, was winning.
Magic was a great competitor and a guy that really had fun playing the game. I think that's the thing. Of all the things that I think about in competing against Magic was the fact that Magic always was having fun. He enjoyed it.
Teams were winning, but they weren't winning with style. And when we played with some flair. That's what I remember about Michigan State. The fact that we got a chance to change college basketball in a sense. And we did it with style and flair.
Look at Irvin Magic.
Magic was the name, and Magic indeed was his game. He makes our list despite only playing 2 years at Michigan State. The multi-talented Irvin Johnson was an All-American in 1979 when he led the Spartans to their first national title and revolutionized the game.
Nobody ever seen a guy play guard that size before. He's able to post you up, play the game, and his just unbelievable court vision to make teammates better.
All of us in coaching had to deal with that over the next few years after Magic. You know, you'd get the 6'8" guy that had no business being out on the court, and they were all thinking they were going to be the next Magic Johnson. He was so unique in that position.
As a college basketball player, he was unbelievable. You rarely get a player with that type of imagination, have a player that fits that imagination.
14, number 14.
He gave you leadership, he gave you emotion, he gave you so many intangibles. Christian's fire heated our building to the highest level, and I love that.
Christian was the most confident player, borderline arrogant player that I played with, and because of that, he was willing to make those kind of plays for us that we needed.
Back to Leitner, he dribbles, takes the shot at the buzzer. Scores! Going to Denver!
He didn't really care what people thought of him. He did things his way and was very successful at it.
Iceberg cool with a smirk and the willingness to take the big shot, Christian Laettner led Duke to 4 straight Final Four appearances and back-to-back national titles in '91 and '92. His turnaround jumper against Kentucky in the '92 regional finals remains one of the most memorable game-winning buckets.
Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer!
Christian Laettner, when the lights were on, when it was nationally televised basketball games, he came to play, and he always put up good numbers.
Number 13.
Ralph Sampson was kind of seeing the future. I remember the first time I saw him play on television, and he was so big and so skilled. You weren't used to seeing people that big, that skilled.
Ralph was mobile, and he was extremely long, and around the basket, you just couldn't stop him.
Here's a guy who's 7'4", who was able to run the court like a guard. He could handle the ball, he could pass, he could do it all. He had the whole package.
That package included 3-time Player of the Year and the only 2-time winner of the Wooden Award. Ralph Sampson averaged 17 points and 11 rebounds in his 4 seasons.
He's one of those players that 10 years from now, 15 years from now, people talk about Ralph Sampson. Like Ralph Sampson in his time was, you know, the best player in college basketball. And he changed the game.
Number 12.
Elvin Hayes is one of those guys that slips through the cracks, the quickest release of a turnaround jumper. His size and mobility, just unerring accuracy.
He could get a lot of points from different angles. He could explode to the basket.
Underrated and understated, Elvin Hayes averaged 31 points and 17 boards in his 3-year career in Houston. His biggest performance came in January of 1968 in the Astrodome, when he fired in 39 in the Cougars' upset of an injured Lou Alcindor and #1 UCLA, snapping the Bruins' 47-game winning streak.
Elvin Hayes is putting on a one-man show.
I looked at it as I have an opportunity to shine brighter and to lift my star up a little higher against probably one of the greatest basketball players to ever play in college basketball. And so that night was my chance and my opportunity, and I took it.
Number 44, Elvin Hayes, the Houston hero.
In an era of great scorers, he was one of the absolute best. What a great, great college player. And really, the University of Houston, you had never heard of them before Elvin Hayes.
11, number 11.
Jerry never had two bad games in a row. If Jerry West had had a bad game the night before, you better not be the next guy coming into town, because he's going to tear your head off.
He was best when things were rough. I mean, when the going was tough and his team was behind, or he was in a tough situation, that's generally when he arose to the occasion.
One of the things I always remember is they had this big gold and blue carpet that led from their bench right out to the jump ball circle. And when they introduced the home team, they would run out on this carpet and they had the lights dim. Of course, they always introduced Jerry West last. He would come out and they'd say, and the greatest mountaineer of them all, number 44 from Cabin Creek, West Virginia, Jerry West. They might as well said the number 44, Jesus Christ from heaven.
Shy and quiet, nicknamed Zeke from Cabin Creek, Jerry West put his beloved West Virginia on the basketball map, averaging 25 points and 13 boards in his career. A two-time All-American, West led the Mountaineers to the 1959 NCAA title game as a junior.
The mechanics and everything were there, but they hadn't been polished, and he taught himself how to play the game. He's one of those guys that first guy to practice, last guy to leave. That's Jerry West.
His work ethic was unreal. We lived probably 100 yards from the field house, and everybody would have games for 3 or 4 hours, and we'd go on home, and he'd be there practicing on the shooting. 2 or 3 hours later, here he comes. He just finished up.
I truly love to compete. Sitting in the locker room, even then, water dripping off your hands, electricity going through your body. Just going out there and letting those emotions try to be controlled and to play in an environment which would allow you to win.
The top 10 is next. There's a player whose mind was as sharp as his game, plus an intimidator and an aviator.